Hey there, welcome. Have you ever really looked at, say, your phone or the shirt you're wearing and just wondered, where did this actually come from? Because, every single thing we own has a hidden story, a whole global journey behind it. And in this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on that journey and talk about what it means for that whole system, the value chain, to be truly sustainable. And trust me, it's more important now than ever.
So for decades, the name of the game for these global value chains has been all about speed and cost. I mean, thanks to amazing technology and cheaper shipping, we built these incredibly efficient networks for making and moving stuff around the world. But, and this is a big but, that efficiency has come at a really steep environmental price.
Just how steep are we talking? Well, get a load of this number, 31%. That's the share of total greenhouse gas emissions that come from the world's most significant companies alone. That is a massive slice of the pie, right? And it just goes to show you how central these huge global production networks are to the whole climate challenge.
Okay, so let's dig into this hidden cost a little bit more. The way we do things now is often called a take, make, dispose model. It's pretty simple. We take resources from the earth, we make products, we use them for a bit, and then we just throw them away. And you can probably see why this linear system is, well, just not going to work long term.
And here's something you really have to understand about how this all works today. Globalization has totally changed the geography of pollution. Because the place where something is made and the place where it's used are often on opposite sides of the planet, the environmental burden, all those emissions and waste, gets shifted. It's often moved from developed countries to developing ones.
So if that old model is clearly broken, what's the alternative? Well, the solution that everyone's talking about is a complete redesign of how we make things. It's called the sustainable value chain.
And this definition, it really just nails it. A sustainable value chain isn't about, adding a green department or some fancy marketing. No, it's about weaving sustainability into the very DNA of the business, from the top-level strategy and how you design products, all the way down to your relationships with suppliers. It's a completely holistic way of thinking. And to be truly sustainable, a company has to juggle these three pillars. You can't just pick one. The economic wins, right, like saving money by using less packaging, have to go hand in hand with the environmental wins, like creating less waste, and the social wins, like making sure workers are safe. It's all about creating a system that works for profit, for people, and for the planet. All right, so building on that, one of the most powerful ideas out there for creating these sustainable value chains is something called the circular economy. And this is a total paradigm shift from the way we do things now. And it all starts with this one simple but game-changing question. The circular economy completely challenges our whole idea of waste. It asks us to look at a product we're done with not as trash, but as a valuable bundle of materials and parts that are ready for their next life.
And let me tell you, this isn't just some environmental fantasy. It's a massive economic opportunity. The EU's manufacturing sector alone, they could see benefits of 600 billion euros by going circular. Globally, that number is estimated to be around $1 trillion. We are literally talking about a major economic transformation here. So how does it actually work? Well, the goal is to keep products and materials in use for as long as humanly possible. Instead of that straight line to the landfill, we create loops. The best loops are things like reuse and repair. Then you've got remanufacturing, and finally, recycling the raw materials. Throwing it away becomes the absolute last-ditch resort.
Now this diagram, it takes things a step further and shows a really key distinction. Think of it as two totally separate cycles running at the same time. On the left, you've got what they call biological nutrients, things like food scraps, cotton, wood, stuff that can safely break down and go back into the soil. But on the right, you have technical materials, metals, plastics, all our electronics. These are designed from day one to never become waste. They're meant to be repaired, reused, and recycled in a continuous loop, keeping them out of nature entirely. Okay, so this all sounds amazing in theory, right? But how does a huge company actually make this happen across their massive, super complex global supply chains?
Well, some research from the Harvard Business Review actually lays out a pretty clear game plan. It all starts with setting real, long-term goals. Then you have to engage not just your main suppliers, but their suppliers, and so on, going deeper and deeper into the chain. And crucially, companies have to train and even incentivize their partners to get on board. Sometimes they even have to collaborate with their competitors, because these are industry-wide problems that nobody can fix alone.
And the really cool thing is, companies don't have to reinvent the wheel here.
Proven business methods like lean management, which is all about getting rid of waste to maximize value, are basically perfect for this. I mean, think about it. Reducing wasted material is a classic lean principle, and it's a huge sustainability win. It just fits.
But, of course, making a shift this big is not easy. Let's be real. Companies are facing some significant real-world hurdles on the path to becoming truly sustainable.
In fact, research has pinpointed at least 13 major challenges, and we're not talking about little bumps in the road. These are a complex web of problems, everything from high upfront costs and a lack of information sharing, all the way to navigating tricky government regulations.
But if you really dig into it, a few key challenges really stand out as the biggest roadblocks. Getting suppliers to actually commit to sustainable products is a huge one. And right behind that is just a basic lack of knowledge about sustainability up and down the value chain. These are the foundational issues you have to solve before anything else can really get done.
So, we've looked at the problems, the potential solutions, and the very real challenges. After all that, what's the one core message we should really take away from this? Here it is. The bottom line is that building sustainable value chains isn't a nice-to-have anymore. It's not a PR move. It is a fundamental necessity for any business that wants to succeed in the long run. It's a win-win-win. It's good for the economy, it's good for the environment, and it's good for people. It is, quite simply, the future of how we're going to make and consume things.
And that just leaves us with one final question to think about. Now that you know a little bit more about that hidden story behind your stuff, how much does that story, the journey, the impact, the real cost, influence your own choices when you're deciding what to buy? That's definitely something worth considering. Thanks for watching.